Hi guys, Katie Ferraro, dietitian and mom of 7 here with 10 easy first foods that you can use for the first 10 days of baby-led weaning. Wait, what? One new food a day? But Katie, my pediatrician told me that I have to wait 3 to 5 days between new foods. Well, in this video, I'm gonna show you how to safely do 10 new foods in 10 days, and be sure to watch to the end because number 9 is gonna blow your mind. But I know your baby's still gonna love it. All right, let's go look at the first 10 days of baby-led weaning. So here's a spoiler right off the bat. You can actually make almost any food safe for your baby to eat, but my absolute favorite food to start with is avocado. Now, I love to do avocado for your baby's first food. And why, you're wondering, like, what's so great about avocado? Well, first of all, avocados are soft, and that's key because we don't do any hard, crunchy, or crispy foods for baby-led weaning. But also, avocado is so easy to cut into strips about the size of your adult pinky finger that babies can pick up and feed to themselves. And avocado, what's cool about them is they're also really high in fat. And sure, your baby's not actually eating much early on, but babies do benefit from fatty foods for their still developing brain. So here's my best tip for cutting an avocado safely for baby-led weaning. And I learned this during my time as a dietitian spokesperson for the California Avocado Commission. You take the avocado and you slice it around the equator. Okay, most of you probably know how to do this, but then you turn it 90 degrees and you do another slice so you're getting 4 equal parts. All right, then you take one of those quarters, okay, and you just peel back the skin. Now you've got this nice soft slice of avocado, and then this is the one that you then can cut into strips about the size of your adult pinky finger, and I put it in a bowl so that the baby can feed themselves. Babies love avocado because it is so easy for them to pick up these little strips like this and to feed themselves. Now, I also have a pro tip for you. When you've got the other half of the avocado, in order to reduce browning, you can just take a lemon or lime and then you squeeze it on the avocado. Another one too is you can just take the other half of the avocado. If you submerge it in water, that will prevent browning, and then you use the rest of it for your baby's next few meals. Second easy food to introduce for baby-led weaning is banana. Now, I know you all know how to peel a banana, but here's how I do a banana for baby-led weaning. You gotta remember, our goal is to get the baby-led weaning foods into shapes that are sticks or spears, about the size of your adult pinky finger, and that is the size that's safe for babies to pick up and self-feed. So here's how I do a banana for baby-led weaning. First, I take the banana and I'll cut it lengthwise, all right? One long cut, turn it 90 degrees and cut that other side longwise again, and then cut that whole thing in half. What you basically end up with are then 8 strips of banana, and if you need to, you can cut them down into pieces about the size of your adult pinky finger, and then those are the ones that you offer to your baby. Don't be scared to offer your baby fruits like banana. Some people, they mistakenly think that if you do fruits before vegetables, it's gonna make your baby have an affinity for sweet foods. But there's lots of nutrition in fruits like banana. You just wanna make sure that you're balancing those out with vegetable offerings too. Day 3 of baby-led weaning, and let's do the first starchy food, and I think sweet potato is a great pick. This is so super easy. So with sweet potatoes, you roast it. I keep the skin on. I don't even wash them because I'm gonna be removing the skin before I serve the sweet potato to the baby. But this is key. When you get the sweet potato out of the oven, you wanna let it cool down to the point where you can just barely handle it without burning your hands. And then you wanna peel it, okay? Because if you wait until the sweet potato cools, then it's super hard to get the skin off. So do it warm if you can. And then to prep sweet potato for your baby, it's kind of the same deal as the other foods. You cut the strips of cooked sweet potato into strips about the size of your adult pinky finger, and then you serve those strips of sweet potato out of the suction bowl. Now, sweet potatoes are really nice to have in your baby-led weaning repertoire because carbohydrates are important for fueling your baby's body. But it can be really easy to fall into the pasta and white potato and rice rut. So you want to keep your starchy options open. Okay, day 4 of baby-led weaning. And if your family eats animal foods, then your baby can safely eat animal foods too. So don't be shy about offering meat. Try to do a meat, any meat will do, just do one in week 1. I think chicken is super easy, but here's my tip for choosing chicken for babies. When we're picking poultry, we want to have the fattier cuts of meat, like legs and wings and thighs. And here's why. Because the fattier meat has more moisture, and that meltable fat will lubricate the protein and makes it easier and safer for the babies to swallow. So I personally don't feel comfortable offering meat off of the bone, like of a chicken leg here, until after your baby has at least 1 tooth. But you can really easily remove the chicken from the bone, okay? You take the little strips of chicken and you serve it in a bowl, and be sure to offer those strips of chicken with a lot of the low sodium broth or cooking juice, because that extra moisture, again, that makes it easier for your baby to swallow the chicken. So meat like chicken contains iron, and it's a really cool new taste and texture for your baby to explore. All right, day 5, and it's time for our first allergenic food. So in my baby-led weaning programs, I teach a 5-step feeding framework for safely introducing 5 new foods per week to your baby. And in this 5-step feeding framework, we always do 1 allergenic food per week, starting in week 1 of baby-led weaning. So I'll do that allergenic food each Friday of the week. So there are 9 foods that account for about 90% of food allergy, and we call them the big 9. So cow's milk protein is one of the big 9, and yogurt is a super easy way to introduce your baby to the potentially allergenic food, cow's milk protein. Now, we don't do fluid cow's milk in place of infant milk like breast milk or formula until your baby turns 1. But it's still important to introduce cow's milk protein early and often to help prevent milk allergy. But if your baby's had formula, so formula is made out of cow's milk, then your baby has already been introduced to this allergen. So yogurt, great way to introduce your baby to the potentially allergenic food, cow's milk, and you don't need any fancy baby yogurt to do that, okay? You don't have to buy baby food yogurt or buy special yogurt, just find a plain, full-fat yogurt. So plain means that it's not fruited and it's not vanilla, okay? Those all have added sugar. And full fat just means that it's made out of whole milk, so not reduced fat or low fat or non-fat milk products. We don't do any of those products for babies until after the kid is age 2. So what you do is you take the yogurt, all right, and you put it in a bowl for your baby, and then you take your baby-led weaning spoon, you preload the spoon, and then you hand that to the baby, okay? And the baby is going to bring the spoon to their mouth. Sometimes at the beginning, you might need to help guide the baby's hand to their mouth, like you can see Arlene doing here with baby Jacob. He's 6 months plus 2 weeks old. He's trying out yogurt on his first week of baby-led weaning. Okay, so far we have done 5 new foods for baby-led weaning, and that is over the course of the first 5 days. So you are done with week 1 of baby-led weaning. But I have a tip for you. For the Friday food, that was the allergenic food, so in this case it was yogurt. For that new allergenic food, each week I do that new food 2 times on Friday, 2 times on Saturday, and then 2 times on Sunday. And that's with no other new foods introduced in between. And that's just to observe for any potential reaction. So it's fine to include the other familiar foods from days 1 to 4, because those are low risk foods, and do those over the weekend too. Just no new foods over the weekend while you're trialing that allergenic food. So are you ready for week 2? So it's a new week. We're gonna start it all over at the top again with another new fruit, and why not do apple? So here's the deal with apples. They can be a huge choking risk if you offer apples raw. So we don't do any raw, crunchy, or crispy foods or apples for babies. But you can slice, core, and peel apples, and then you poach them in a little bit of water to get them nice and fork tender, which is perfectly safe for babies to eat. So then you take those slices of apple and you put them in a bowl. Now you can season this with cinnamon or nutmeg, and then the babies can safely pick these little apple slices up and feed themselves. All right, how to make cauliflower safe for baby-led weaning. It's the same for broccoli, but I love these vegetables because they basically have a built-in handle that babies can pick up with their fat little baby hand and feed themselves. So when you're cutting your cauliflower, you wanna be sure that you're cutting it so that the florets have like the longest handle possible here, and then cut it down into a size that the baby will be able to pick up with their hand and to feed themselves. So when I'm cooking cauliflower, I take the florets, I spread them out on a baking sheet, and then cover it in whatever oil you use at home. And don't be shy about seasoning your baby's vegetables. You just want to steer clear of the salt for the baby. So then you roast the cauliflower until it's nice and soft, and you put some of those individual pieces of cauliflower in that little bowl for the baby to eat, and they can pick it up and feed themselves. By the way, if you're interested in checking out these bowls that I'm using, they're from a company called Easy Peasy. My affiliate discount code Katie10 works for 10% off everything at easypeasyfun.com if you want to grab a few of them for your baby. Okay, there are all sorts of grains that work great for baby-led weaning. So in 2016, I created the 100 First Foods approach to baby-led weaning, and my 100 First Foods list has 20 different grain foods that you can safely feed your baby. So I'm just gonna pick a random one from that list, which happens today to be buckwheat. And by the way, if you want to grab a copy of that 100 First Foods list, I give it away to everyone on my free weekly workshop. It's called Baby-Led Weaning for Beginners. You can sign up at the link below this video, or if you go to babyledweaning.co, I'll see you there. You can also grab your copy of the 100 First Foods list on that free training. But back to the whole grain, buckwheat. For buckwheat, you can just cook buckwheat cereal per the directions on the stovetop, and then offer it when it's cooled off of a preloaded spoon that you then hand to the baby so the baby can self-feed the kind of warm cereal. But a cool thing about buckwheat is that when the cereal cools, it gets kind of gelatinous, and you can also form the cooked buckwheat into these little strips that you then put into the baby's bowl, and they can pick it up and feed themselves. That size is about the size of your adult pinky finger. So you put them in the bowl, the baby picks it up, and they can feed themselves buckwheat, or you can do it off of the preloaded spoon. Time for your baby's second meat. And while you don't have to do any foods in any particular order, I just love to do beef early on in baby-led weaning, so let's do some beef. Beef is an iron-rich food that's really easy to make safe for baby-led weaning if you know which cuts of meat to buy. So I love beef chuck roast and beef brisket for baby-led weaning. You can do them in your slow cooker or your pressure cooker with lots of no-salt broth. Because the key to making meat safe for babies to eat is that we want to have nice, soft, shreddable strips of beef that babies can self-feed. Okay, my rule of thumb with meats for babies, I always say, if you can shred it between your finger and your thumb, then it's safe for your baby to eat with their gums. And when you're serving beef, you want to do the cooked strips of beef, and be sure that you're adding a lot of extra low sodium cooking broth to give that extra moisture, which makes it easier for your baby to eat. Because at the beginning of baby-led weaning, your baby's really just gonna be sucking or gnawing on those soft strips of shreddable meat, and that's totally fine because they're experiencing a new flavor and a new texture, they're getting a tiny bit of iron transfer, there's a lot going on here. And another way you can do beef easily for baby-led weaning is to take some of that cooked beef and then you put it in a blender with the low salt cooking juice, and then you can just serve it out of an open cup. So this is the tiny cup from Easy Peasy. It was designed by their feeding expert, and babies can start learning to drink out of an open cup at 6 months of age. So you can do breast milk or formula, but you can also offer purees like pureed beef out of a cup, and babies love that too. All right, it's day 5 of your second week of baby-led weaning, so it's time to do another allergenic food. Let's do egg. Again, you can pick any allergenic food in any order that you want for your baby, but because milk and egg and peanut are the 3 most common pediatric food allergies, I like to start with those foods first. And eggs are super easy for baby-led weaning. So BLW Eggs 101, eggs have a yolk and a white. Right? The yolk is where the iron and the other nutrition is, but the white is where the protein. And that's the potentially allergenic part of the egg. And that's the part that we want baby to try. We actually want baby to have both the white and the yolk. So what I love to do for baby-led weaning is to make a fried egg, break the yolk up into the white, and then spread it around while the egg is cooking. And then you cut the fried egg into strips about the size of your adult pinky finger, and then you put them into the bowl so your baby can pick up and self-feed. Eggs are such an easy allergenic food to offer your baby, and babies tend to love eggs. So you can move on to other preparation methods, but I really just think the fried egg finger sticks are really the easiest way to start. All right, there you have it. There's 10 easy foods for you to do in the first 10 days of baby-led weaning. So week 1, we did 5 foods, and then week 2, we did another 5 foods, and the rotation of the foods, we pulled them from my 100 first foods list, and we're following my 5-step feeding framework. I teach more about how to do these foods safely for your baby inside of my free online workshop called Baby-Led Weaning for Beginners, and I give everyone on that training a copy of my 100 first foods list, so you can go get the other 90 foods that we didn't cover in this video, which are on that list. If you want to sign up for this week's workshop times and grab your copy of the 100 First Foods list, head to babyledweaning.co, click the link on your screen, that registration link, it's also in the description, and be sure to hit like and subscribe because I come out with 2 new videos each week teaching you exactly how to start solid foods safely with baby-led weaning. Hit me up in the comments if you've tried any of these 10 easy starter foods for baby-led weaning with your baby, and thanks so much for watching.